Hey, I'm Rebecca Calbert, and I wanted to go over with you how I got started on the Save on Building courses and why they exist, who they're for, and what they can do to help you. So, when I got started as an architect, I worked for large firms doing large scale projects with entire development teams. So, on any given project, there would be a developer, architect, engineers, clients, investors, like the whole gamut. So when we talked about the feasibility of a project or the design of a project, there were no less than 10 to 12 people in the conference room at any given time. If you can imagine, all 10 of those people came to the table with, decades of experience behind them, all having learned different things from different projects, coming together to make a successful project out of the one we were currently working on. And I didn't realize how important that was and how I took that for granted until I switched clientele that I was working with, went out on my own and started working with small business owners. Primarily, I work with childcare owners, restaurant owners, church pastors, investors that are looking to create shopping centers to rent out or office buildings to rent out. When I first started working with a childcare client, I got to the end of my permit set and I emailed it to him and I said, "Here you go, here's your permit set," and he answered back and said, "What do I do with this? Who does the permitting? How does that happen? I thought you were going to do it." And it was a big shock for my system in that not only did my client not really understand the permitting process, he had not set in place anybody to go and permit the building for him. He had never heard of a permit expediter. He didn't know if he could do it. He thought I was going to do it. It certainly wasn't in my scope of work because I was used to working with large scale developers who had permit expediters, a network of permit expediters throughout the country, depending on where they were as to who they hired. So it was a big eye opener to me to see what my clients didn't know. And so over the course of the next 12 years, I have walked each small business client through the process of the zoning and design and permitting and construction process. And what I've been doing is filling in the blanks for them depending on what they know and what they don't know, right? Some clients come to me and they know all about building design. They've done a ton of research on materials. They know what type of building they want. They know what type of construction it needs to be, but maybe they don't really understand the zoning process, right? So then I'll fill in the blanks for the zoning process and just educate them and fill in their lack of knowledge or lack of experience where needed. And I found that I was one of the very few architects that were actually taking the time to do this with each one of their clients. And the reason for this is that architects, engineers, and contractors are all also small business owners. So as a small business owner, you probably know you have a really thin profit margin and you have really high overhead. And so when you sign up with a client to do a certain amount of work, you don't have a lot of play in there for extra time educating or walking through or absorbing responsibility or scope of work that hasn't been accounted for, right? There's really not a lot of that time available to do it. And as a result, I found that our industry has really gotten a bad rap on communicating to clients, on educating clients, and we really come across as a general industry as kind of taking advantage of our clients. And by that, what I mean is generally as an architect or a contractor, when we give advice, the client knows in the back of their head that to take this advice with a grain of salt. Because if I say to my client, "Hey, I really think if you want to add that extra classroom on at a later date, I really think it would be better to add it on now. It would be more cost effective." But in the back of my client's mind, he's thinking, that's great. Of course she thinks that, because that means her fee is going to go up, right? Like my fee as an architect would go up if it was a larger building. And so there's a little bit of distrust in the back of my client's mind. Even if I've built a trustworthy relationship with them over the months, they still know in the back of their mind that this advice may be self-serving to me. That happens as well with contracting. Like if a contractor approaches a client and says, hey, I really think that instead of standard cabinets, we should have custom millwork instead. Well, again, in the back of the mind of the client, he's thinking, well, of course they want custom millwork because that's a higher cost item, a higher cost overhead, and therefore they're going to make more money off of me, right? And so there's always this dynamic between us, the construction and design industry, and our clients, the business owners and the building owners that we work for. And so what occurred to me is that if I documented all of this advice that I have offered over the years, and if I walked my clients through the process in video, I could also do the same and walk people that were not my clients through the process and weigh the pros and cons with them on their decision making in a way that I am a third party unbiased opinion, right? Like I have no skin in the game. So when I created these courses, I set it up that way. I'm giving you unbiased advice to educate you on what the process is, what to expect from each person you hire, what's standard, what are standard expectations that you can expect. Also, what's a realistic timeline for something like that to happen? That comes up a lot because everybody thinks that, if you do it right away, that means it's going to be done in 5 minutes. But really, some of these processes that we go through are very time consuming, and it's easier to hear it from somebody that you haven't hired to do it, right? I look at Save on Building like being a friend out on a golf course or a tennis court or wherever you hang out and socialize, where it's somebody that's walking around with you all day that has 30 years of experience and just giving you unbiased advice. They have no skin in the game. And that's how I look at it. And that's what I want Save on Building to be for you. I want it to be an advice on the process that it takes, advice on the time it takes, advice on how to make different decisions, because there is no right or wrong decision. It really is what's right or wrong for you, for your location, for your particular project, for your finances. So I go through all of those pros and cons along the way so that you can make educated decisions and you feel confident moving forward with your project, that you've got that best friend off to the side just whispering in your ear what's standard, don't be surprised if this happens, this is common, or even the opposite. Maybe I'm telling you that this is not common, this is beyond what's expected, or this is, if it's gone more than 6 months, it's taking too long, something's wrong with the process, right? So it does, it covers a lot of those bases. Now, I've set the courses up into 9 different courses. I did that intentionally because the building design and construction process takes 2 to 3 years on a medium-sized commercial building, a small to medium-sized commercial building. So I broke the courses up into 9 different pieces or parts of the process so that you can pick up where you are, where you find us, right? You may find this video or you may find us online and you are already under construction. So there's no reason why you should go back and purchase the entire bundle on real estate acquisition and location secrets and zoning processes, because that's in your rearview mirror. You've already been there, done that. You don't want to do it again. There's no reason to spend money on hindsight. You're not going to get anything out of it. So I've set them up so that you can pick up where you are in the process and learn moving forward. And don't worry about what you've already done. Don't worry about where you've already been and what you've already accomplished. Just start with where you are and move forward from there. hindsight's always 2020. It won't serve you well to purchase a course and go through something that you've already made all your decisions about, because you can't undo the past. So if you want more information about me or our courses, the website's really easy to remember. It's saveonbuilding.com. And I really look forward to helping you move your project forward with confidence, knowing that the person that's giving you advice and the person that is showing you the way and giving you a roadmap through the process doesn't have any skin in the game and is completely unbiased to help you learn what you need to learn, filter through all of the things you don't need to worry about, and just focus on getting the project done and getting it done on time, getting it done within your budget, and having a building that you can be proud of at the end of the day. All right, thanks.